Hey guys, how are you guys doing today? This is your good buddy Dave from Kart Speed, and when I sat down to make another video this week, I looked at all the things that we had that we got on the list for videos to make, and you know, I kind of looked back over the videos that we've done and got me to thinking. You know, we've done a lot of videos on chassis dynamics. We've done videos on what adjustments do what. We've done videos on how race data can help your race program, or improve performance. We've talked about how race data can help driver performance. We've talked about clutch maintenance and how to make your clutches better. We've talked about tires and chemicals. We've talked about tire pressure, okay? And there are hundreds of videos like that on the internet. But I have yet to find a video on the internet that talks about what I deem probably the most important part of your racing program. The one thing that determines whether you're going to have success at the racetrack or not have success. You know, and what that is having a strong mindset. You know, very rarely you're going to go to the racetrack and things are going to work out perfectly. Very rarely are you going to go down there and you have an all-star kind of night where the setup is on point, the tires are the right set of tires, where the gearing is perfect, and everything goes without any kind of issues. I can only count in my 30+ years of racing that happened a handful of times. That does not happen very often. More than likely, you're going to go to the racetrack and something's going to go wrong. You know, something broke, something didn't go right. You know, the plan that you had didn't work. The set of tires that you thought were going to be fast ended up not being fast. You know, you're going to run into that more often than not. And the most important thing that you can have is a healthy perspective and a strong mindset. You know, it's like working out, right? You know, when you work out, how does your muscle grow? Your muscle grows from lactic acid building up in the muscle and breaking the muscle down to build it up even stronger. I know it doesn't seem this way at the time, but usually those weekends where it is not a good weekend, things didn't go to plan, are usually more beneficial to you and to your team than what the weekends where everything went perfect.
If the really fight is the war against yourself. Now, it's not easy to look in the mirror and to change your own life. It's hard as hell. You have to take responsibility. You have to learn new things. You have to feel uncomfortable. Good, because discomfort is how we grow. That's how we become strong. If you run away from discomfort and resistance your whole life, you will always be weak. If you want to grow as a person, you really have to make friends with pain. Embrace the discomfort. Enjoy the struggle.
You know, I have a hard time remembering a lot of times those weekends that everything went perfect. But I can give you 30 weekends where I can remember what went wrong, okay? And those weekends are just as much or even more of a blessing than the weekends that everything went right, okay? Because I know people harp on the fact that, oh, you got to know what to do. You got to know what to do to your tires. You got to know what to do to the go-kart. Well, just as important it is to know what to do, it's even more important to know what not to do, you know? So it's always important that, you know, it's like the Bible in James. It talks about, you know, count it blessing when you have trials and tribulations, because through trials, you know, you build perseverance. Through perseverance, character. Now, I'll paraphrase that a little bit. Well, here's the Bible verse. But again, you know, that's how winning is done. That's how you build success, is having a healthy perspective and a strong mindset to know that when things aren't going right, don't go in your trail and go, well, here we go again. What you should be saying to yourself is, all right, well, we're closer than what we were. We found out what didn't work. Let's see what else either works or doesn't work, you know? having that healthy, strong mindset. You know, I try to preach this to my boys, to Jack, Gavin, and Max. Again, life is not easy. Racing is not easy.
Life is the ultimate competitor. It's relentless. It will continue to attack you when you least expect it. We must learn to adapt and overcome to any and all obstacles that are in front of us.
Okay? There are race engineers. Okay? There are engineers that work for Penske, McLaren, a lot of these big teams, right? They get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Okay? That leave the racetrack going, that didn't work like I thought it was going to work. Why didn't that work? Okay? So if those guys are having weekends like that, trust me, me and you are going to have weekends like that. But the important thing is that whenever things don't go your way, assess it, find out what didn't go right, and then make changes and adjustments for next time. Okay? Keep moving forward. Because that's just like Rocky. I almost said a Rocky Balboa quote, but it's true. But you keep taking hits and you keep moving forward, because again, that's how winning's done. All right? That's what it's about. You know, even Jesus said, in this world you're going to have troubles, but take heart, because he has overcome the world. Bible verse. All right? So again, when you go to the racetrack, all right, have a positive, strong mindset that even when things aren't going right, no, this is what you have to do to go ahead. These are the steps and the growth you have to take to go ahead, because progress comes through pain. All right? Like I said, like we were talking about, you know, when you're building a muscle, the muscle's not going to get bigger unless it burns. Until you build lactic acid up in the muscle and it breaks it down, only then will it come back bigger and stronger. Okay? So when you go to the racetrack and things aren't going right and you're 2/10 off the pace and you qualified 30th instead of 2nd or 1st, okay? And you rode mid-pack, chalk this up to this is part of the process. Don't get discouraged and just go, okay, well, the things we did this weekend, we know don't work. We'll try something else next time. And through that, that's how you build success. Not quick success, long-lasting success. Guys, I appreciate you joining me for this video. And till next time, don't leave no speed in the trailer.
He that never had to fight for sun and sky and air and light, but stood out in the open plain and always got its share of rain, never became a forest king, but lived and died a scrubby thing. The man who never had to toil to gain and farm his patch of soil, who never had to win his share of sun and sky and light and air, never became a manly man, but lived and died as he began. Good timber does not grow with ease. The stronger wind, the stronger trees. The further sky, the greater length. The more the storm, the more the strength. By sun and cold, by rain and snow, in trees and men, good timbers grow. Where thickest lies the forest growth, we find the patriarchs of both, and they hold counsel with the stars, whose broken branches show the scars of many winds and much of strife. This is the common law of life.